Welcome back to Easy English Daily. Have you ever made a decision that completely changed your life? Maybe you were afraid to try something new. Maybe you thought you weren't good enough. Or maybe you simply didn't believe in yourself. But sometimes, one small decision can open the door to a completely new future. Today, you're going to listen to a powerful and inspiring English story about a young man who was afraid of failure but decided to take one small step forward. And here's the exciting part. As you listen to the story, you won't just enjoy the story. You will also learn useful English vocabulary, natural expressions, and simple sentences that you can use in your everyday conversations. So, listen carefully. Don't worry if you don't understand every word the first time. Just relax, listen, and enjoy the story. André Monbert. Listen, understand, repeat, speak. Let's begin. Part 1. The story. A first step. Once upon a time, there was a young man named Daniel. Daniel lived in a small town with his parents. He was a quiet and hard-working person. Every morning, Daniel woke up early, helped his family, and went to work. He worked in a small shop near the center of the town. Daniel was responsible for selling clothes and helping customers. He was good at his job, but there was one thing that made him unhappy. Daniel had a dream. He wanted to start his own business. He wanted to open a small clothing store. He had many ideas. He imagined a beautiful store with modern clothes, friendly workers, and happy customers. But there was a problem. Daniel was afraid. He was afraid of failure. He often said to himself, "What if I fail? What if I lose my money? What if nobody comes to my store? What will people think about me?" These questions stayed in his mind every day. One evening, Daniel was sitting outside his house. He was looking at the sky and thinking about his future. His father came and sat beside him. His father looked at him and asked, "Daniel, why do you look so worried?" Daniel was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Father, I have a dream, but I'm afraid to follow it." His father smiled. He asked, "Why are you afraid?" Daniel answered, "I'm afraid that I will fail." His father looked at him carefully and said, "Daniel, do you know something?" "What?" Daniel asked. His father said, "Failure is not the opposite of success. Sometimes failure is part of success." Daniel listened carefully. His father continued, "If you never try, you will never know what you can achieve." These words stayed in Daniel's mind. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He thought about his father's advice. For the first time, he understood something important. He didn't need to know everything. He didn't need to be perfect. He just needed to take the first step. The next morning, Daniel made a decision. He decided to start small. He didn't open a big store. He didn't spend all his money. Instead, he bought a few clothes and started selling them online. At first, it was difficult. Some days, he didn't sell anything. Other days, he sold only 1 or 2 items. Sometimes, he felt disappointed. Sometimes, he wanted to give up. But he continued. Every day, he learned something new. He learned how to talk to customers. He learned how to advertise his products. He learned how to manage his money. And slowly, things began to change. After several months, Daniel had more customers. People started recommending his clothes to their friends. His small business began to grow. 1 year later, Daniel finally opened his own clothing store. It wasn't the biggest store in town. It wasn't the most expensive store. But it was his store. Daniel stood in front of the shop and smiled. He remembered the day when he was sitting outside his house, afraid to follow his dream. He remembered his father's words. And he realized something. The hardest part was not becoming successful. The hardest part was taking the first step. Daniel looked at his new store and said, "I'm glad I didn't give up." And from that day forward, Daniel never forgot an important lesson. You don't have to be fearless to follow your dreams. You just have to be brave enough to take the first step. Bardos vocabulary. Now, let's learn some important vocabulary from the story. Listen carefully and repeat after me. Encore a dream. A dream is something you strongly want to achieve. Exemple. My dream is to become a successful business owner. Repère. My dream is to become a successful business owner. Tout haut afraid. Afraid means feeling fear or being worried about something. Exemple. Daniel was afraid of failure. Repère. Daniel was afraid of failure. 3. Failure. Failure means not achieving the result you wanted. Exemple. Don't be afraid of failure. Repère. Don't be afraid of failure. Fureur succès. Success means achieving something you wanted or worked for. Exemple. Hard work can lead to success. Repère. Hard work can lead to success. Faire décision. A decision is a choice you make after thinking about something. Exemple. Daniel made an important decision. Repère. Daniel made an important decision. Sister j'y vais. To give up means to stop trying. Exemple. Never give up on your dreams. Repère. Never give up on your dreams. 7. Continue. To continue means to keep doing something. Exemple. Daniel continued working hard. Repère. Daniel continued working hard. 8. Improve. To improve means to become better. Exemple. Daniel improved his business skills. Repère. Daniel improved his business skills. Un inart achieve. To achieve means to successfully reach a goal. Exemple. You can achieve your goals with hard work. Repère. You can achieve your goals with hard work. 10. Take the first step. This expression means to begin doing something. Exemple. Sometimes you just need to take the first step. Repère. You just need to take the first step. Part 3. Useful expressions. Now let's learn 3 useful expressions from today's story. Expression 1. What if I fail? We use this when we are worried about something that might happen. For exemple. What if I make a mistake? What if I lose my job? What if nobody likes my idea? Expression 2. I don't want to give up. This means you want to continue even when something is difficult. For exemple. This is difficult, but I don't want to give up. Expression 3. Take the first step. This means to start. For exemple. If you want to learn English, take the first step today. You don't have to be perfect. Juste start. Part for listening practice. Now, I'm going to tell you a short part of the story again. This time, listen carefully. Try to understand the meaning without translating every word. Ready? Les torse go. Daniel had a dream. He wanted to start his own business, but he was afraid of failure. He asked himself many questions. What if premier fail? What if I lose my money? What will people think about me? One day, his father gave him some important advice. He told Daniel that failure was sometimes part of success. He told him that if he never tried, he would never know what he could achieve. Daniel thought about his father's words. Then he made a decision. He decided to start small. At first, things were difficult. But Daniel didn't give up. He continued working hard. Slowly, his business grew. 1 year later, Daniel opened his own store. He finally understood that the hardest part was taking the first step. Part 5, Speaking Practice. Now, it's your turn. Listen to me and repeat. I have a dream. Buzz. I am not afraid of failure. Buzz. I will never give up. Buzz. I will continue working hard. Buzz. I can achieve my goals. Buzz. I just need to take the first step. Excellent. Now let's put everything together. I have a dream, and I will never give up. I know that success takes time, but I will continue working hard. I may make mistakes, but I will learn from them. I believe I can achieve my goals. I just need to take the first step. Very good. Part 6, Story Retelling. Now, let's retell the story using simple English. Daniel was a young man with a dream. He wanted to start his own business, but he was afraid of failure. His father gave him some good advice. He told Daniel that failure could be part of success. Daniel decided to take the first step. He started a small online business. At first, things were difficult, but Daniel didn't give up. He continued working hard and learning new things. Slowly, his business became successful. After 1 year, Daniel opened his own store. He learned that taking the first step was the most important thing. Finale réveille W. Let's review today's vocabulary. Dream, something you want to achieve. Afraid, feeling fear. Failure, not achieving the result you wanted. Success, achieving your goal. Decision, a choice you make. Give up, stop trying. Continue, keep doing something. Improve, become better. Achieve, successfully reach a goal. Take the first step, start doing something. Excellent work. Pero efecisión a lo utero. And that's the end of today's English story. I hope you enjoyed Daniel's story and learned some useful English vocabulary and expressions. Remember, learning English is a journey. You don't need to learn everything in one day. You just need to take one small step every day. Listen, repère, practice, and never give up. If you enjoyed this lesson, don't forget to like this video. Subscribe to Easy English Daily. And turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next English lesson. And tell us in the comments, what is your dream? Write your answer in English. For example, my dream is to become a successful business owner. Or, my dream is to speak English fluently. Keep practicing. Keep leren. En drøm. Your English can improve every single day. Section 2. The story continues. The first step. Așa este. Daniel was a young man with a big dream. He wanted to start his own clothing business. Every day, he imagined having his own shop, meeting customers, and building something that belonged to him. But there was one big problem. Daniel was afraid. He was afraid that he might fail. He often asked himself, "What if I lose my money? What if nobody buys my products? What if people laugh at me?" These questions made Daniel feel nervous. Sometimes he thought about his dream for hours, but he never took action. One evening, Daniel was sitting quietly outside his house. He was looking at the sky and thinking about his future. His father noticed that something was wrong. He walked over and sat beside him. "Daniel," his father said, "you look worried. Is everything okay?" Daniel took a deep breath. "Father, I have a dream," he said, "but I'm afraid to follow it." His father looked at him and smiled. "Why are you afraid?" "Est-ce que?" Daniel replied, "I'm afraid that I will fail." His father was silent for a moment. Then he said something Daniel would never forget. "Son, failure is not the opposite of success. Sometimes failure is part of success." Daniel listened carefully. His father continued, "If you never try, you will never know what you can achieve." Those words touched Daniel's heart. That night, Daniel thought deeply about his father's advice. He realized that he didn't need to be perfect. He didn't need to have everything figured out. He didn't need to start with a huge business. He just needed to take the first step. The next morning, Daniel made an important decision. He decided to start small. He used some of his savings to buy a few clothes. Then he started selling them online. At first, things were not easy. Some days, he didn't sell anything. Other days, he sold only 1 or 2 items. Sometimes, Daniel felt disappointed. Sometimes, he wanted to give up. But he remembered his father's words. So, he continued. Day after day, week after week, Daniel worked hard. He learned how to communicate with customers. He learned how to advertise his products. He learned how to manage his money. And slowly, something amazing happened. His business began to grow. People started buying his clothes. Customers recommended him to their friends. More and more people began to trust his business. Daniel was happy, but he knew that he still had a long way to go. He didn't stop learning. He didn't stop improving. He simply kept moving forward. Then, 1 year later, Daniel finally achieved his dream. He opened his own clothing store. It wasn't the biggest store in town. It wasn't the most expensive store. But it was his store. Daniel stood in front of the shop and smiled. He remembered the young man who was once too afraid to take the first step. And he realized something very important. The hardest part was not becoming successful. The hardest part was believing in himself and taking the first step. Daniel looked at his store and said, "I'm glad I didn't give up." And from that day forward, he never forgot this lesson. You don't have to be fearless to follow your dreams. You just have to be brave enough to take the first step. Vocabulary from Section 2. 1. Dream, something you strongly want to achieve. Example, my dream is to become successful. 2. Afraid, feeling fear or worry. Example, I am afraid of making mistakes. 3. Failure. Not achieving the result you wanted. Example, failure can teach us important lessons. 4. Savings. Money you have kept for future use. Example, Daniel used his savings to start his business. 5. Disappointed. Feeling sad because something did not happen as expected. Example, Daniel felt disappointed when he didn't make a sale. 6. Continue. To keep doing something. Example, he continued working hard. 7. Achieve. To successfully reach a goal. Example, Daniel achieved his dream. 8. Give up. To stop trying. Example, never give up on your dreams. 9. Improve. To become better. Example, Daniel worked hard to improve his business. 10. Take the first step to begin doing something. Example, if you want to learn English, take the first step today. Keep practicing. Keep learning. Andrum. Your English can improve every single day. Thank you for watching Easy English Daily. See you in the next lesson. Keep listening. Keep speaking. Keep improving. Good billet.